Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is literary work appreciation. Before we start today's presentation, I will introduce our member. The first is Agus Laksamana Putra, and the second is me as Nadia Zakia Kolbi. Okay, let's go to the presentation. Our material is about authors. Authors is a person who writes a novel, poem, essay, etc. The composer of a literary work, as distinguished from a compiler, translator, editor, or copyist. The first is novels are specially made words in words. One of the problems a lot of people have in trying to understand literature is that when we watch the television, we are faced with art that looks as if it's a clear window on the world. To put that point another way, we are presented with art that looks like an unmediated slice of life. What we get, we are led to think is life as it really is. But no art is like this, no matter what it is, television and film as well as opera and ballet. Art is something that has been specially made. Even art that tries to imitate as closely as possible some of the everyday features of life, soap operas, for instance, artworks that have been designed, selected, edited, trimmed, and packaged. All art is made. Three elements are present: the events of the book, the author who made the book, and the reader who is responding. Second, how authors arrange events. A question you can ask of any novel is, with what purpose does a novelist arrange the events of the novel? A number of answers can be given to that question. Among these are to create excitement and suspense, to produce mystery, to show something important about the way people live their lives, to arouse expectation. That list could continue, but already one thing has emerged. What all these points have in common is the relationship between the reader and what the novelist has written. Narration. The name usually given to the business of how authors relate events to readers is narration. Narration is a matter both of viewpoint and of attitude. In what follows, we shall think about the number of different ways in which stories are narrated and how an attitude to the events and characters is present in the very manner in which the novelist narrated. One of the basic features of narration is grammatical. Verb, a word that indicates an action or state of being, comes in the three forms, now as the first, second, or the third person. Here is the singular form of the verb to write. First person is I'll write. Second person like you write. Third person like he, she, it, one writes. Third, narration. First person. When a novel is told in the first person, Jane Eyre is a sample. It is as if the novelist and the reader is the theme of the book. Indeed, some novelists build on this by inviting the reader to imagine the I of the book seated at the table with pen in hand. Some other aspect of first-person narration, we feel very close to the narrator. In many cases, all that we know is what the narrator knows. Seeing into the heart and mind of the narrator allows the author to explore mental change and growth. And it's sometimes said that we know a first-person narrator better than any other character. We can know the world from a viewpoint other than our own. Fourth, narration third person. Third-person narration are more common than narratives in the first person. Some narrators call attention to themselves as narrators. In fact, it looks as if the novel is going to be a first-person narrative, but after the opening passage, it switches to a third-person mode. Mode is a way of doing something. The intrusive narrator. Sometimes a narrator can be intrusive. This is not necessarily a criticism. It is merely a way of pointing out that they enter their narratives, usually to tell the readers what they think. George Eliot does this a lot in The Mill on the Floss. Some readers find this awkward. Either they don't like what the narrator is saying or they prefer narration to be uninterrupted. Degrees of knowledge. One of the opportunities third-person narration offers novelists is degrees of knowledge. You can always ask, what does the narrator choose to know about the minds of his or her characters? This is a very different situation from that of the first-person narrator. With first-person narration, it is only the narrator's mind that can be directly known. In third-person narration, the novelist has a choice. Okay, the fifth material will be presenting by my partner Augie Laksamana Putra.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Augie Laksamana Putra. I'm from Group 6 with Nadia Razaki Kulbi. I will continue this PPT. Chapter 5. Chapter 5 about multiple narratives. Bordering Hate, the Wall of Book is narrated by Luke Wood, a visitor who knows very little about the customs of the wild part of England in which the novel is set. He is the primary narrator. However, for much of the time, the secondary narrator, Nellie, relates the incidents. She has known most of the main characters from their childhood, so is able to give a Lockwood a broad view of events. Relativity of viewpoint. The other point about multiple narration is in Wuthering Heights is that it opens up an issue that is often present in books that employ this narrative mode. This issue is that of the relativity of viewpoint. Because characters are different and because they see different parts of the story, the issue is raised as to how trustworthy are the various narrations. Who narrates? The woman in white raises is an issue that is always of some interest in multiple narration, and that is who does and who doesn't narrate. Because the novel depends upon discovering certain explosive secrets, some characters are never given the opportunity of narrating. If they were to speak, what they are trying to keep hidden would be bound to emerge. And chapter 6 issues in narration. Because narration is the basis of novels and other forms of literary art, it isn't surprising that there are many aspects to it. This section deals with some of them. Retrospection. Most first-person narrations are presented as a looking back upon what has happened. This is usually called retrospective narration. Even the diary section in Collins' The Woman in White have a retrospective element. In that although we must imagine the diary to be written up at the end of each day and the writer to be unaware of the long-term consequences of characters' action. It is retrospective to the extent of looking back on the day's event. Knowledge. What the consideration of retrospective narration shows is that narrative deals with knowledge. Knowledge in first-person narration. In one sense, this issue is simple. We know what the narrator thinks, but like the narrator, don't have same assurance about other characters. Knowledge in third-person narrative. The problems here are different. The responsibility usually rests upon the reader to remember who knows what. Reliability. The most difficult art of knowledge is when there is a narrator whom the reader cannot fully trust. Such a narrator usually a first-person one is called unreliable. Reliability is always a matter of degrees. If a reader didn't believe anything that he or she was being told, the novel wouldn't at any point make sense. And then perspective. Issues of retrospection, knowledge, and reliability all turn on perspective. This is a word that comes from painting. It means what something looks like from a particular point of view. And the chapter 7, author's attitudes and irony. Author's attitude. It is one of the principles of literary study that what we call form and content can be separated. This is as true in novels as it is poetry. You can't split off the sounds and rhythms of a poem from its meaning, and nor can you talk about the way a novel is written in isolation from what it is about. In fact, the indivisibility of these two things is present in the language we use about novel. Irony. Irony occurs when a reader sees that the author is showing that there is a gap between what is thought to be true and what actually is true. Whenever there is a gap or discrepancy of this kind, you can say that the writing is ironic. Some features of irony. One is irony is about seeing and not seeing. Irony is always against someone. Irony is often a kind of alliance between author and reader. Sometimes one irony undercuts another. Irony isn't always immediately apparent to the reader. And the last is ironies are often enjoyable when they are hinted at rather than barely stated. That's all from us, from me, August Laksamana Putra, and Nadia Zakia Kolbi. Hope all of you enjoyed. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.